Let's do this.
Let's do this.
What's up, Brian?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to
Good.
see you. Yeah.
Good. So what are we talk about today?
Okay, well, it's October. It's
Yes.
Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
The weather has changed.
Mhm.
So we went from summer immediately into our first winter.
Okay.
So I always make a joke. In Youngstown, Ohio, there are 4 seasons. Winter, second winter, third winter, almost winter.
Right. There you go.
So let's talk. Do you think weather and atmosphere affect someone's attitude?
For sure. And I
Okay.
think a lot it has to do with the sunlight. So
Okay, either lack thereof or more of a presence.
yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So big presence of sunlight, you feel what?
Great. You
Okay.
feel energized. You feel healthier. You feel like getting up and doing something. I will notice on days where we get a couple of consecutive sunlight days and then you'll get a gloomy one and you will have a sharp, distinct difference.
The vibe goes down.
Yes,
Right.
for sure.
Like this morning, we woke up. It's not raining, but it's dreary. It's miserable. So are there things we can do then throughout the day when it is gloomy to boost our attitudes?
Well, once
Besides
you're
coffee?
once you're in the pit of despair, right? It's up to you to drag your butt out of it, right? You don't wake up, look out, and say, "Yeah, I feel like doing stuff today." You're like, "Hey, let me get on the couch," and then it's like,
Yeah, all right. Another thing about fall, which is my favorite subject and topic and season, how do you feel? I'm just curious. Pumpkin spice stuff. let's talk pumpkin spice because people go ape shit over that
yes,
stuff.
yes.
I'm not a fan of the drink pumpkin spice, although I do like pumpkin pie and pumpkin loaf and pumpkin roll. What are your thoughts on pumpkin spice?
Not a fan of anything pumpkin
Okay.
whatsoever.
Carving them?
Sure, we'll do it if it's a fun time.
Okay. So you're not into the whole latte, pumpkin spice.
I would not defile this thing of beauty here that is espresso.
I told Joe every time I drink these, I feel like I'm at a tea party in a little.
Your pinky has to be extended properly. Thank you.
I'm in a dollhouse. All right, let's get wild here.
Okay.
I watch a show, and I was telling you about it, called Mysteries at the Museum. They talk about numerous different things, phenomenon, Loch Ness Monster, aliens, time travel.
Yes.
We have to be, in my mind, I don't want to say crazy, but we have to be, well, I'm going to say it, crazy to think there's not other life somewhere in this universe.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And what I think happens, human beings, we want the whole universe to bow to our perspective and our limitations. There's so much more that our analog sensory organs just have no way of perceiving.
Right. We're like a speck.
Yes.
So to think there can't be aliens or other life forms, and whether they're intelligent or not intelligent, I think is wild
For
because
sure.
we're just a speck in the universe. So have you ever encountered a supernatural experience?
I would call it, yeah. As a
Okay.
kid, I had a bunch of little supernatural. I don't know if it was ghosts. I don't know if it was energies. I have no idea what to think of it.
Right. And I believe in ghosts, whether they're good or bad. It doesn't have to be the creepy crawler ghost with the scariness. There could be angels
Mhm.
with regards to being a ghost. So I've never experienced any of that, and I look into the sky all the time to see those UFOs, and I don't see them. But there have been numerous sightings of people across the world, not just the country, who have seen things that can't be identified. Hence, unidentified flying objects, UFOs. All right, so there is life somewhere else out
Yeah,
there.
I got a theory here.
'Kay.
And take me to Crazy Town. We'll
Let's
we'll
go.
do this all out.
Jumping on the bus.
So multiverses. From a physics standpoint, there is an infinite amount of universes where you, in each one of these multiverses, have made every potential decision that you've ever been faced with. So there's a version of you that took that other path at one point.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And so as we traverse into those different multiverses, as we make different decisions and whatnot, I think the phenomenon that we experience through extraterrestrials and ghosts and all of that are because of those, we're kind of going through different planes of that existence, and we're seeing things that aren't necessarily part of the plane that we're going into. Might
Okay.
have been remnants of the plane that we're exiting.
Ooh, That's deep.
That is deep.
That's deep. And again, with ghosts and things of that nature, it doesn't have to be an actual physical being or something that you see that looks like a white sheet over someone. It could just be an energy. Boom, something on the table moves. Boom. Because I watch the paranormal investigators all the time on TV, and just the stuff that is filmed by people is just amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I got another one for you.
Yeah, let me hear it.
So I think what you do is sort of leads into the multiverses here.
Okay.
Think of things as potentialities, the likelihood that something could happen. Like today, you becoming president of the United States, probably a low potentiality.
Right.
But you going out and finding a quarter on the sidewalk, it's maybe a little bit better than being
more
president.
probable.
You taking another sip of your coffee, almost assured, right?
Okay.
So every position there has a different potential, and as you make decisions, you make certain things more likely, and then other things less likely. So when you pitch, you're pitching something like generosity or kindness. You plant a seed of someone making a different decision. You're going into their future, which is a version that wouldn't have picked generosity and kindness, and you planted a seed in their head where they take a completely different pathway that day, and you made something more potential.
Oh, I like that. Right. And it doesn't have to be actually even in that moment. It could be weeks down the road based on what was planted into someone's mind.
Absolutely.
They choose to take this path over this. And every day, you may intend to go to the grocery store, and on your way there, something else pops up and you end up somewhere else.
Yep.
Because of the decision you made. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and you can make things super likely to happen, and you can make certain things like super unlikely. So if I put a piece of chocolate cake on the island, so I eyeball it when I come in, I made it super easy, right? So the potential went higher. If I take chocolate cake and I put it in a safe and I lock it with a combination I don't know, I'm making it very unlikely that I will eat cake.
Right. But we know you don't eat cake because you're a weirdo and don't like sugar. So I just cut a segment on happiness. And I always think the problem most people have with regards to happiness is we're always trying to be completely or fully happy. And my logic on that is stop trying to be completely happy and start searching for the happy moments in life. Because every day there are numerous moments. This moment right now is making me happy. Yeah. I'm drinking coffee. I'm with my buddy. We're hanging out. We're chit-chatting. Right. So it doesn't have to be that I had a great, wonderful, happy day, but I did have a wonderful, happy moment. And I think if people can start looking at just the moments in their life and celebrating those small things, they'll be better off. Because sometimes it's like that report card you get with 5 A's and 1 B, and it's easy to focus on the 1 B. And we forget sometimes to celebrate those 5 A's. So I tell people in life, just, make your happy moments exist and celebrate them individually.
See, that was one of my favorite graphics you posted about those thousands of moments, the thing I shared this morning.
Right.
Because you have to think of it. It's easier to assemble a lot of 3-yard runs than it is to win because of your Hail Mary pass, right?
Correct.
Right? Because you're going to lose a lot more when you go for the one-shot victory rather than trying to assemble a lot of those small moments.
Right. And that post was about, you come to mind when I think about that post. Everyone thinks people who are successful just automatically walked into it. And I try to remind people that every day you wake up and you do things to help make you more successful. And people have probably failed 1 million times before they finally got it right.
Exactly.
And all we see is the end result. They got it right. Apple, what's his name?
Steve Jobs.
Jobs. I mean, the dude had numerous failures, I'm sure, just like Abraham Lincoln. If you ever read his bio, failed at this, and like at the 20th thing, elected president. KFC, Colonel Sanders, with his secret sauce recipe, he started that. Do you know how he started that?
Tell me about it.
With his first Social Security check. That's how old the dude was.
Wow.
First Social Security check. And he tried to sell these, 9 seasons, I forget what spices, to numerous places, and no one wanted it. And he kept, no. And then finally, after, I don't know, don't quote me on this, maybe the 60th or 70th time, someone said, okay, we'll sell it at our gas station. And next thing you know, you have KFC. Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
It's pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about Bigfoot.
Yes.
Is
Bigfoot.
he or she alive?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Is it an ape or is it an actual person that's manifest?
New species. I think it's a total new species.
Okay.
I think, we talk about like traveling to other planets, but there are so many places here on Earth that we have never been to and never discovered.
Unexplored.
Every year we're finding new species of fish at the bottom of the
Right.
ocean because it's so vast. I think we underdo it on how big this planet actually is. So I think there's probably some ape-like species that there aren't very many of them, and they're in remote parts of the jungle, so we just don't have a lot of evidence of them.
Yeah, that's the only thing, because I want to so bad, and my kids always make fun of me. They're like, why do you believe in that? I go, because there have been too many sightings.
Yeah.
Now, again, some of those sightings were bears, obviously. Some of them were people dressed in costumes, obviously. But, I mean, something tells me there has to be, I don't know, whether it's an intelligent being or a non-intelligent being out there roaming somewhere in a desolate area that we know nothing about. The thing is, this is what stops me then from thinking it's true. I've never seen a carcass, a body. You know what I mean? Like, where's the skeleton? Because they can't be living forever. Which is weird, because you know what's funny about birds? There are 1 billion birds in this world. When's the last time you looked and saw a bird besides a couple?
Smacks into your window
Right.
or something. Yeah.
Otherwise, where are they going? They're in the wood. I mean, it's wild. Okay, so we've talked about aliens a little bit. We've talked about Bigfoot. Let's talk about, well, we discussed this a little bit, but AI.
Yeah.
And how it's going to change things. Do you see it for the better or worse?
Better.
Okay.
Overall net gain better.
Okay. In certain industries, certain areas of life, or photographs, better. Everyone's going to look better, right?
Right.
It's better than, what's that called when you have a picture and you take a filter? Everyone uses filter. I've never once used a filter. I'm proud to say, no filter, all natural. So I think with AI, pictures and videos and things of that nature will be enhanced to their
I
full
think
potential.
it'll be
I guess.
completely simulated. Like, I don't think a real experience is going to hold much value. I think simulated experiences, if you can't perceive the difference between the two, way more valuable to go to a simulated Paris that costs $0 than to have to physically go there and take unneeded risks and get exposure to all those germs and go to Paris for real.
That's interesting. But then you miss the real grind.
What if you don't know?
If your mind can really actually then make you feel like you're.
Yep.
I guess on some of those rides, like in Disney and other amusement parks, they have those simulators. You sit into this machine and it takes you on an airplane, and you feel like you're on a plane. It's moving. It's 3D, 4D. There were one ride was, could it be 5D? I don't know. So you have the physical, you have the sound, you have the wet. I mean, the splashing of water, which becomes so 3D. Wait. So 2D.
Yes.
So there's 1D. All right, let's go. Let's break this down.
Okay.
1D. 2D is
A piece of paper.
okay. 3D.
A cube.
Okay. What makes something 4D? What's that fourth dimension?
Well, in physics, it's time.
Okay.
All right. So the length of time and distance over a spatial cube.
Brings it to the fourth degree.
Yes.
How many degrees are there, by the way?
There's 12 dimensions.
Oh God, let me hear it.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Oh, yeah, and
We only have a little bit of time, but let me hear a little bit
so
about
it
this.
gets weird because it gets out of spatial, it's no longer cubes anymore. So if you think like a one-dimensional is a point, right? And then you draw a line from that point and create a two-dimensional length and width with a line, right?
Okay.
And then you take four lines you take four of those rectangles to make a cube.
Okay.
Well, you take 4 cubes to make the fifth dimension. Your brain starts stalling at this, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to take 5 of whatever that was to the fifth dimension. So you're going up things that are not comprehensible at that point.
You've lost me at
The
the second
12th dimension is a mathematical, not necessarily something you can picture.
Okay. Have we ever experienced that level?
Probably, but it's not part of our
It's
analog.
not cognizant.
I keep referring to our perceptions, our sight and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so limited to what's really happening. So we can only go to that third dimension before those start breaking down and can't process the information. Yeah.
So we're kind of like, and that goes to probably with the amount of brain we use. They say it's a small percentage, correct?
Different parts of the brain used for different things. Yep.
Right. And sometimes so the right side's creativity, left side's analytical,
Logical,
I
yeah.
believe. You have a lot of logical. Logical. Okay.
My head goes like this because the brain's
You sleep
weighted.
on this side of the pillow at home? Oh, man. All right, so AI
Yeah.
is here.
Mhm.
Who do we credit for that? Is there one specific, like Apple, iPhone?
Well, I would say
you can credit this
the
person.
stuff we get annoyed with about being delivered advertising before we even know we're gonna order something.
Okay.
That's like AI in the background looking at the things that you're doing and making, pretty good, reasonable decisions to what to deliver you.
That stuff's freaky. So I'm having a conversation with someone one day about something. Next thing you know, on my phone, those ads are popping
Yeah.
up. Now, is that because... Let's talk about that for a
Okay,
second, and then we'll wrap
cool.
that up, because that blows me away. My phone can be in my pocket. I feel it's off. I'm having a conversation about something, and literally, I'll get an ad, or something pops up with regards to the conversation I've had. Or now typing something in and having it pop up, I could see that more, obviously, because. But are they listening? And I don't mean they as in like the government. I just mean, is artificial intelligence listening to what we're doing?
To a point.
Okay.
But human beings are fairly predictable about what we do because we're so habitual.
Okay.
So it might have been that. Did you see Minority Report?
With Tom Cruise?
Yes.
I can't remember it.
Okay, so they did pre-crime, right?
Okay.
So they looked at these people who can look into the future and sort of like put you in the best, know that you're going to kill somebody
Okay.
and arrest you before you go and do it.
Okay.
Right? So let's just say you looked at 20 criminals and you looked at their patterns of behavior before they committed a crime. And so you take all of those data points where they ate lunch. Well, you can't say that lunch makes you kill people, but this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Okay.
Right? So those potentials go up that you may become a criminal
Based on
the behaviors
Okay.
before a crime. Well, same thing happens before you make a boat purchase, right?
Okay.
You probably do certain things.
Little
The
research.
algorithm starts to say, oh, I bet you he buys a boat at this point because people before him did this, this, and this, and this. They went on vacation somewhere, they rented a boat, then they all of a sudden say, I want to get this boat, and they look up financing offers. So you're like, you do like maybe 1,000 different things that lead you up to the point where it's super likely you were going to do that thing.
That's interesting.
So it's not just that they're listening.
Right.
Might be a piece of it.
Right. There are numerous things that lead up to that.
Right.
They don't just hear one thing and start, let's plug in it. Wow. I mean, that always just amazes me. And it's like a rabbit hole when you click on some of those links because it takes you to this way and this way. And that's just because I believe every time someone clicks on something, they get money.
Yeah.
Right? Is that how
yeah.
it goes? The people putting that stuff out there?
I can't pass on one of those, like, the cruise industry doesn't want you to know this, ... I'm like, I need to know.
Well, no. Click. 30 minutes later, you're still clicking, and you got to read those ads and stuff.
I can't help it.
Well, technology is great. Last thing before we wrap up. I'm an Android guy. People hate that. I screw up everyone's text threads.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Apple product versus Android product?
I use all of them.
Okay.
I have an Android phone. I have an Apple.
Okay.
And I don't really see the advantage anymore. It's more of just a brand preference. Adidas versus Nike.
Okay.
Pepsi versus Coke.
Burger King versus McDonald's.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I like that answer because some people literally hate the fact that I have an Android, and I love it. You want to know why? One reason.
Go ahead.
The back button. There's a back button on my Android phone that I could just hit back, and it takes me right back. With iPhone, which all my kids have and friends have and people that I know have, my brother's an Android guy still. We're strong. We're tough. I have a couple friends who are Android people, but the majority of people are Apple, and they always say, why? I go, it's the back button, because I don't believe Apple has that back button to go back one screen. They have a thing that can take you out of what you're in, but to literally go back one. So that's why I like Android.
Yeah, and each one of those are going to culture you in this direction. So once you're in the Android camp, you almost got to stay there because all your familiarity lives there. Same thing with the Apple people.
Yep. Loyalty. All right, folks. Well, we talked about the Bigfoot. We talked about aliens a little bit.
Some ground.
We covered some ground. We talked about the 4th, 5th, 6th, 12th dimensions. I'm stuck on 2. But it's always a pleasure being with you, Joe.